Today we're going to cover a question that I get a lot. Stacey gets it a lot. She sells precious metals for Miles Franklin. By the way, silver's over $26 an ounce this morning. You know, who'd have thunk it with all the bank failures going on? There was another bank failure today. Today, First Horizon stock plunged 43% as TD, Tornado Dominion CEO, that was fully committed to buying the bank, is backing out. So it's just another bank failure. We learned yesterday that this is a lot different. I want to push this home. I know a lot of you already heard it, but this is different than 2008 because it's so much faster. In 2008, banks were failing months apart at first, and then it went to days. We're failing days apart now, and I think it's going to start coming in at 2 a day. So keep that in mind when you're putting all your money in one bank because they're solvent. There's nothing wrong with that bank. Don't put all of your money anywhere. I am not a financial advisor, even though I know several that used to sell me. One of them used to sell me welding rods. He's about half my age, took a class. Now he can tell people what to do with their money, but I cannot do that. But I don't want to do that. I want to build your conviction and for you to be smart and witty, because I know you are. You're here, you're paying attention, and you're watching and listening and learning, and you will be able to build a conviction that you can stand by even as the assets you're convicted on are dropping, because that's likely. If you don't have that conviction, you'll sell at the wrong time, and you won't be able to buy more when it's down. So this is important. Please understand all situations are different for everybody. Case in point is right here. This is from Chris. I just lost my mother, working on a lot of pain right now. So I have to sell my house to move closer to my daughter. I can't buy a lot of food and water and all the other items, solar panel. You know, it's overwhelming. This prepper stuff, freeze dryers and all this stuff is overwhelming. I get that feel from him. I just don't want to lose what I have. So can you see how his situation's so much different than you know, mine or everybody else's maybe? I mean, maybe there's a lot of people that might be close to his situation, but there's a few things we can look at to try to help us going through this. Because if you can be as prepared as possible, if you have a nest egg, you know, your cash that's in the bank, if you've taken some of it out and put it at your house or buried it in a jar or whatever you do with it, you know, you've got somewhere to run to. You know, build your moat first. You know, get ready for the Thunderdome and then decide. And my moat is God first, family, and then figure out a way to protect your family financially, because if you don't do it financially, you're not going to be able to help anybody. Really. And when I say that, I get all kind of stuff in the comments. Oh, just trust in God and don't worry about it. That's a cop-out, by the way. I don't believe that. God doesn't want you to do that. Proverbs 27:12. Okay, check it out. The prudent. If I could remember, it would be great. The prudent see danger and take refuge. The simple keep going and pay the price. Now, here's the original question, Kurt's question. We should have no money in the bank at all? Local banks and credit unions versus E-Trade or Fidelity. Okay, local banks and credit unions is what I choose. Diversify. E-Trade and Fidelity are brokerages. You're not an unsecured lender to them as far as I know, like you are at the banks. I mean, when you put your money in the bank, it is their money. It is their asset and it's your liability. You've put somebody between you and your funds. But it's important for you to know that I do have several bank accounts that have, you know, each business has its own bank account. And I think we have one for sure. I'm pretty sure we have two now. We just got rid of one because the lady was wanting to know personal information just because she wanted to know it. It's very strange. If you've been following me, you know all about it. But we got rid of that bank, and I think they got rid of her. So I have money in brokerages because I plan on taking advantage of the deals. But this is different for everybody. If you're older and you don't have that much time or, you know, to make it back, you might take a little bit of that risk off the table. You know, I'm pretty risk adverse. A lot of these stocks that I have bought have gone down, but the price that I buy these little stocks at is really arbitrary. It's a volatile thing that I'm after, so how could I ever expect to buy the bottom? I'm actually talking about one tomorrow that I got in over at 50 cents that's now almost 40 cents. So check that video out. It seems like a great play on natural gas. But like I said, I have that conviction and I'm not going to sell it at low prices. Where should you store your cash or dry powder? All right, so have a nest egg. You know, build your moat first. Get out of debt, have a nest egg, and whatever percentage you come up with, you're smart and witty, you got it. Whatever percentage you come up with, take action and feel it, know it. Hey, this is the allocation I want towards precious metals. It's been a hedge against inflation because that's what they're going to do. After they get through stealing the money, they're going to print it into oblivion. That's what all governments do. Central down approach, remember? They make asset prices cheap so they can get in, so they can buy it for pennies on the dollar. And if you're not part of the problem, you'll be able to be part of the solution. No, they don't want you to be. That's actually in this question. Will we be able to spend this dry powder if we're owning nothing? Wondering why the same people causing chaos would want us to thrive on all the deals. Am I missing something? Well, if you think they want you to thrive, you would be, because they do not want that. These people want you to be a slave. They want you to be in debt. They want to own all the resources. They want to have the food. I mean, look at it. Bill Gates. I got a story here about EU approves Dutch farm buyout. They're paying people to not grow food. You know, these people are after power. You control the food, you control the people. Now, and just so you know, earlier Chris said I can't buy a lot of food. And it made me think of that's buying a lot isn't it. It's buying what you can. And you don't have to do it all at once. It's just like precious metals. You just allocate your percentage towards food you're going to eat anyway, whatever that is for you, and you eat off the front. And you have yourself a little, a grocery store in your house, you know? And that's the kind of food I like to encourage people to get. You know, the cheaper food, you can come up with your own plan. I've got a pond back there. It's my protein plan B. I've got chickens. You've been hearing them squawk and cluck. That's another protein source. Protein in the Thunderdome is going to be expensive, but it will always be here. We will always have food. There will always be food on the shelves. People think that's not true, but it was in Venezuela. You just couldn't afford it. If you've been buying food now, you've beaten the stock market. You are successful. Congratulations. But no, they do not want you to thrive. They want you to be a servant to them. They're actually pissed off at you because you're using up all the resources. And in the name of climate change, they're going to want to stop all that. Speaking of climate change, I got a quick story for you I want you to know about. So I hope we've built some conviction. Figure out your percentages and go with it. It is important for me to mention that I am upping my precious metals portfolio just a little bit, just because why not? It just seems logical. That doesn't mean we won't have a pull down, but that also doesn't mean you're going to be able to find it and the premiums aren't going to go way up. Okay, speaking of climate change, check this out. Biden proposes a 30% climate tax on cryptocurrency mining. This is out of the party members over at the CEA, the Council of Economic Advisors. It's called the Digital Asset Mining Energy Tax. That would encourage firms to start taking better account of their harms they impose on society. You know, and critics argue that the White House just doesn't want crypto, and they don't want a competitor to the dollar. To me, that's all it is. And they say they don't really need the money. It's not about the money. It's about the climate. I told you earlier about the EU. I'll tell you a little more about that because this is scary, and as it gets closer to us, it's going to get even more scary. The European Commission has approved the Dutch government's plan to buy out some farmers and compensate the losses of who decide to shut their enterprises down in an effort to reduce nitrogen emissions and safeguard nature. The Dutch government has earmarked $1.6 billion. This is just now. This just came out to buy out hundreds of farms in the near future. The plan aims to reduce nitrogen emissions, to squelch, whatever. The point being, the party members over at the Dutch ministry office is worried about nature and nitrogen policies, and they don't want you to grow your food. Period. That's it. Our food supply is under attack. So as you build your moat, get your food, not all at one time, just start accumulating. Now's the best time. Start if you haven't done it now, now's the best time. Start accumulating food, get your percentages down on what you want in precious metals. Get your goose egg, your nest egg percent. I hope it's a big goose egg, but get your percentage in your nest egg, put away, and as your net worth changes and the Thunderdome gets here, you can adjust two different categories. You can take risk on, or you can put risk off. You know, you can do a lot. You can stack the cards in your favor by doing these simple things. So guys, have an awesome, awesome day. If you like the video, hit the like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll see you in the next one. Later.